Hello and welcome to another ARCHLineXP tutorial with Hendrik. In today's tutorial, we're going to explore how to import site terrain from Google Maps, and then basically how to situate your building slab onto this terrain, and how you can also create basically what's called a plateau. All right, and once we've imported a plan, once we've imported the terrain, we'll also explore how you can actually change the appearance of the contours and how you can create those. Okay, so we're going to start in a new project and we're just going to basically import our terrain and we're going to place a slab onto that. And we're also going to make sure that it's accurate in terms of the AHD, which is the Australian height datum. So that's what we're going to do first. So I'll just go new project and we'll just find a random spot that we can import some terrain. All right, now the first thing we want to do is we want to go here to Google Maps, and we're going to go import map as terrain, and we can go high terrain resolution. Okay, we're just going to snip a small part of terrain. So the larger your terrain goes, the larger your file is going to actually be. So we'll just find a spot here in Brisbane and we'll just have a look here. And we'll just grab one of these. Okay, so we're going to grab this spot. So I'll just go okay. All right, so now we have our terrain. We'll just go into 3D view. So now you can see it's basically created polygons out of this terrain. So what we need to do now is we need to change how this appears in the 3D and the 2D so that we can get the contours to give us a better idea of the levels. So the first thing we'll do is I'll click on the terrain, just right click, and I'll go 3D representation, and I'm going to go by contours. Okay. So now in the 3D we can see our contours. Now in the 2D I also need to make a few changes. Alright, so I'm going to click on it and I'm going to go elevation information. Edit level lines is the one you want to click on. So you're going to go generate level lines. Alright, and you can add your intervals here. For this one, I'm going to make it at 500 mil intervals, and I want it to be sort of gray so it can kind of fade into the background. Okay, so I'm going to make it a dashed line. Okay, and this should be good. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Should be okay. Just make a few like that. Just change these colors. So these are basically the intervals of the contours. So for example, if you wanted to change one of these to red at a certain interval, so this would be 500, 1000, 1500, 2000, 2500, 3000. Okay, so you can change these to anything you want. But for these, I'm just going to keep them all the same. Okay, dashed, 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 and dashed. Okay, so now if we turn on line weight scale, Okay, we'll turn that off and turn that to 1:100. You can see here that it's now added in those dashed lines. So another thing that you're going to see is these little dots, which are points on the 2D that show the height of that point. Okay, now if you want to query one of these points, you can just right click and you can go to elevation information and query. Okay, and you can basically click on either the contours like this, okay, and you can actually add that in like that. Okay, or the other way you can do it is if you right click and you go elevation information, you can just click on one of these points. Okay, so that's sort of how it works. Now what I'm going to change, because I don't necessarily need to see all these dots, is, okay, I'm just going to change this to rectangle and I'm going to change this to 0. Okay, so now we've removed all these dots. Okay, all right, and we have some contours. Right, so what we got to do now is we need to add our plateau. So to add a plateau, you can just go to terrain, plateau, add. Okay, so I'm going to click on the terrain and we're going to start to create a plateau. Right, so I'm going to go like this. Now you can see that it's snapping, so we might actually just turn that off. So in the left hand side here, we'll just go to cursor and marker, snap and grid, and we'll go snap, and we'll disable snap in fixed direction. Okay, and we'll just have a look at if that made a difference. Yep, so now we can place it wherever we want without snapping. Okay, so we'll just do this part like this and we'll press enter. Okay, now it's going to ask us what is the elevation of this. Now this is AHD. Okay, so what we got to do is we got to select a level that it's going to flatten on. So it's going to make everything flat at 34.5. So I'll just go okay. And this is basically the slope of the sides. So I'll make this, 60 or something. I'll just go okay. All right. So we can see we now have our plateau. Modify contour. So you can modify the contour of the plateau, so you can change it, you can offset it, you can do whatever you want. But in this instance, we'll just hit tab a few times. Okay, so we want to actually change not the slope, modifying terrain node height. Okay, so that's the one you want to click on. So we're going to make it a little bit higher. So we'll go 35 and we'll go okay. Right, so now you can see our plateau has slightly adjusted. Now this is probably too high. So we'll just need to make some estimated adjustments. So we can just go back to it and we'll go right click. We'll go modify terrain node height and we'll go 34.7. Right, go have a look again. Right, so that seems a little bit better. Right, now we can continue to do this for the surrounding plots. right? So we'll go back, and we can start adding the other ones as well. So we'll just go terrain, we'll go plateau, and we'll go add. Okay. Now for this one, I'm actually going to keep like a small distance between the plots so you can kind of see the difference. So just go like that, and I'm going to add the plot. Okay. And I'm just going to offset it after I've finished. Okay, something like that. And I'll just go okay. Now it's always important to check on site what your AHD actually is to make sure you have the right level. Okay. But for this, we'll just go 34, 33. I'll just go okay. And the sides, I'll just set like that. Okay. Now that's probably a little bit too much. Right, so I might just make some adjustments. This one we need to make a little bit lower. And this one, you can see there's a bit of a slope in the terrain. All right, so we'll go back here and we'll see what we can do. So this one, we need to make a little bit. Right click on the plateau, modify terrain node height. So this one needs to be a bit lower. Okay. And this one needs to be a little bit higher. Okay, so we'll make it 34. See what happens. Okay, let's see. Right now, maybe this one is still a little bit high. No, it could either be that this is actually built on a slope. So you could always change it, right? Depending on, where your building is sitting. All right, but for now, we'll just sort of go with that. We'll just make it a little bit lower. We'll go modify terrain node height, and we'll take it back to 33. Okay, and that should be okay. And we can make the slope a little bit more. So we can just select on it, and we can go modify slope on all sides, and we'll put it up. Let's see if we put it up to 80 degrees. Okay, so that's probably too much. All right, then we'll go on this side, and we'll right click, we'll go modify slope on part of contour. So we basically need it to go up to there, and we'll make it go 40 and down to here, about there, and we'll make it go to 40. So now we can go enter, and you can see it's slightly changed the slope, and that should be okay for now. Right, and this one should be okay as well. Now we could probably put in a retaining wall here, or however the site's built. But for the moment, now the only thing we need to change is to make some adjustments and add in our slab. Okay, now if we go up here and we go to properties, we can see here that there's a building elevation above sea level. Okay. Now what we need to check is we need to check where this plateau has been created on which level. So we'll just go elevation information, query information, and I'm going to click right here on the edge of the plateau. So that's at 34,600. Okay, now we probably need to make our slab slightly higher. I believe it's a 200 mil leeway that you have to actually give between the slab and the terrain. So we need to set our slab at 34,800. Okay, so there's two ways to do it. Either we can go here to properties, and for the ground floor, to make it show the Australian height datum, so it's going to show everything in relationship to the Australian height datum. So we can either make this 34,800, or if we don't want to see that, we can just put in 34.8 down here, and that's going to adjust the slab. Now we'll just do it the easy way for now. So we're just going to delete the basement layer. We don't necessarily need that at the moment. Okay, so for my ground floor, I'm going to put 34,800. Okay, and I'm going to leave this at 0, and I'm going to go OK. So now let's create a simple slab. Okay, so I'm just going to go make copy, and I'm just going to make it 100mm slab plus, say, 15mm finish plus 15mm timber finish. Okay, and I'll just go OK. And let's just make some quick modifications to this. Okay, prefab concrete, and we'll just go like that. And we'll go prefab concrete. Right, and we'll just add a few layers. We'll make this -100, and we'll go -15. And we're just going to make this a wood texture. So we'll just go like that. Okay. Okay. And we'll make the top, we'll just go like that. Right, and I'm just going to save it here and modify, activate. Okay, and I'm going to click OK. Right, so now what we got to do, okay, we'll just pretend that this is a house and that we have our slab. Right, now just put in your slab like this. Okay, and you go OK. Right, now we'll go and check it out. Right, so now we can see our slab is right there, and we can make a few adjustments. All right, can go onto it, and we're going to select base offset from floor, top of structure, and that should be set. Slab layers, okay. All right, so that looks good. So we're just going to make a few adjustments. So we're going to go here to ground floor, and we're going to change how that slab sits there. So we're going to bring this down, let's say 34,500. Okay, and we're just going to hit rebuild. Oops, so that's way too much. Okay, so we need to take it up a bit. 34,700, and we'll go OK and hit rebuild. All right, now we can see it's close. Just have a look. Right, Now, one thing we also need to change, we'll go here to floor plan, and here where it says bottom of structure, that's one thing I forgot to change. You've got to make sure that is the slab, right? So our slab is 115 in total, so we'll go 115 and we'll go OK. So now we can see that it's properly constrained. Now we can move it down a little bit more. Okay, it's 34,600. And we'll just go hit rebuild. And that's probably a little bit too much. So we'll go up here, 34,650 should be all right. And we'll hit rebuild. Right. Okay. So that should be okay. Right, now what we can do after we've done that is we can add our walls. So now we have our slab down, we can actually add our walls on top. So we'll just go here and we'll go with a double brick wall. Okay, and just go and add that like that. And once you have your slab set, you can basically just start creating your building. Right, so we have a slab that's set into the terrain, and we can start adding our building on top. Now, there's some changes we might want to make. For example, we might want to add a road. So we're going to add a road, right? So to create the road, we're just going to go here to road, and we're going to go add, right? And we're going to try get it as close in the middle as we possibly can. And we can adjust it afterwards, but try get it as close as we can. Right, and we'll just go hit OK. And when we're done, we can always go modify contour. We can actually make adjustments to this. Try get it right in the middle. Okay, just like that. We'll hit OK. And we might also change the size. Okay, so we'll just make a quick guesstimate. And we'll go dimension, measure. So we'll just go from here to here. That's approximately 5,500. So I'm just going to click on this and okay. I'm going to go to properties, road widths 5,500, road material. Okay, just click it like that. And we will just overwrite this. Go OK. And go OK. Right, let's delete that one and we'll just replace it again. Okay, so we'll go terrain, road, and we'll go add, and we will select the road that we just created. Right, so we'll just go like this, and we'll hit enter. So we got our road like that, and we can click on it and just go modify contour, and we'll just move it slightly down like that. We'll hit OK. Right, so we got our road here, and we need another road perpendicular to that. So we can just do that as well. Okay, edit node height on the layout. And here we just need to make that a little bit more in line with the terrain. Okay. Like that. Right. And we'll hit OK. So now you see it's actually made some adjustments, right? So now we have our road going down like that. Right, we can add gutters and all that sort of stuff. But in this one, we'll just kind of cover the basics of it first. So we need to create our other road now as well. So we'll go building, terrain, road, and add. And this will be another 5.5 meter road, right? So we're just going to make sure we get it right in the middle, like that. And we're going to get it right there. So we'll just go OK. So we got the other road going down like this. Now we just need to make a few adjustments to make sure these two meet up. So for this one, we'll just go edit node height on the layout. Just click it down like this. And we'll just make some adjustments. So we'll try get this as close to the terrain as we can. Okay, let's get it like that. Okay, we'll just try get it as close as we can. Something like that. Okay, and we will just hit OK. All right, so now we got our two roads, and we can just delete this, and we can also delete this one. All right, so now if we take a look at it, we've got our two roads. Now this probably needs to go down a little bit, so we can make some more adjustments, right? I'll go modify terrain node on the layout. Right, so now you can see this is the right way around. All right, so this one, we want to move this slightly to the side. Okay. Right, so now we also want to move it down a bit. Okay, so dimension, measure distance from here. We want to go down about 235 mil. Okay, so gonna go like this, delete this. Right, so this one we got to just bring that down 235. Delete this node, and we'll just go okay. Okay, that should do it for now. Right. Okay, so we got two roads, and we've got our plateaus. Right now, the last thing we have to do is we're gonna get rid of all the other lines. So for this one, We just sort of want the plots. We don't really need anything else, really. Okay. Right, and for this, we'd be actually fine to change the terrain material. So for this one, we're just going to change this grass. Okay, and we're just going to change the material like that. All right. Right, now the last thing we want to do is we want to actually just edit this so that this plateau isn't showing um, any contours. Okay, so to do that, we can just go to Edit Group, and we can actually start modifying things. So we can just select Delete Edge. Okay, we'll just go back, try that again. Okay, so we can go here to Delete Node, move node right to the edge. Okay. And we can start just deleting parts of this. Just delete this as well. Delete edge. Part of it. Alright, okay, so now we actually have just a part of it. Okay, so we don't need to move a copy, we can just go delete part. So with this one, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go and just move this around a little bit. Okay. So we'll just delete all these nodes. Delete node, delete node. Okay, just delete all of these. Okay. So I'll just continue. I'll just delete all of these. So you only want to do this when you've created a plateau, because you don't necessarily want these contours on your plateau. So you can actually just edit and just delete all of them right up to the plateau. So we'll go move this down a little bit. Okay, and we'll just continue editing this. Go delete node. Just delete all of these ones. Okay. Okay. And now we're just going to go to, I believe it was delete part. Delete edge. So we'll go delete edge. So now we have this edge right here, and we have this edge right here. Okay. Now we just want to do the same for all the other ones. Okay. So again, I'm just going to delete node, delete node, delete node, and move this node just down right there, and just right click to exit. Okay, so once you delete a node and you want to exit, you just right click. Okay, so delete node, delete node. Okay, this one, just want to move it right up to the contour, and with this line we're just going to go to delete edge. Okay, so now we've split this into two edges. So we're going to do this one as well. Okay, and we're just going to move this up a little bit. So we can actually just go to insert node right on the corner. And we'll go with this one as well. We'll just go insert node and we'll insert it right there. And then we're just going to delete this edge. Okay. So now as you can see, our plateau is showing the correct way. So the last one we want to do is just this one. Okay. So we're going to insert node and we're going to delete this one. And we'll just go insert another node and we'll just insert it right there. Okay, and we'll delete this one. Okay, and then the last thing we'll do is we'll just go to delete edge. Okay, once we're done, we'll just go to close group. And now as you can see, we'll just delete these ones. We now have all our contours. So like I showed you before, now to show your contours, you just right click and you go elevation information and query information. And you can start adding all that information. Okay. You can go over here. You can go elevation information query. Okay. And you can start adding this information. Just like that. Okay. Now, once you're done, you can just go ahead and you can place that onto a sheet. You can start adding, your 2D lines and annotations and all those sorts of things. But this generally covers the basics of it. So now you see, if you look at the site, we've got a road. Okay, we've got our plateaus, and we have a base to start creating our building from. Okay, now if we go to the 2D, we can see we have our plateau. Right, if we go up one level, we can see that it's still showing this terrain. Now, one thing you might want to do if your terrain is not showing on all your floors is you just want to tick it right here on the left. And you can actually modify, you can either go all floors or you can actually go edit and you can select which floors your terrain needs to appear on. Okay. But for the moment being, I'm pretty happy with that. And I can continue creating some more annotations. Now, I hope that helped. And if you like this video, please leave some likes. And if you have comments or questions, you can leave those below. Thank you very much.